There is a very clever function called transpose, which only works as an array function. So it doesn't work as a normal function, as our sum does, but works because it's created as an array function. Now, the way that the transpose function will operate is to take a list of values and change them from being horizontal to vertical, or from vertical to horizontal. Let's see it in action with our staff file. Here we have a sheet with sales staff in, and there's a number of sales staff, number of marketing staff, and then a number of warehouse staff that are actually horizontally entered. Now, we could go with copy and paste. So I could copy these employees. Let's create a new sheet first. So I could copy these, move into the new sheet, and do the paste special transpose option. Okay. And they are then pasted in, transposed. So if they were vertical, they now become horizontal. That's great, but it doesn't link the cells together. If the sales staff then change names, so Barry becomes Belinda, then sheet 5 is not updated. It's still Barry. Whereas with the transpose function that we're about to look at, that would be updated. Let's delete sheet 5 and add a new sheet. And let's put it at the end and call it transposed. So if we want our sales staff headings, as we have here, that are currently row headings, to become column headings, then we simply go to the new sheet where we would like them to be. We do have to check how many columns there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in the new sheet, where I would like these headings to appear, which is from here, I need to highlight 7 cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. With the cells highlighted, I then start typing the transpose function, open brackets, then highlight my list, which is these employees here. And you can see that picks up sales staff, exclamation mark, A2 to A8, then close the transpose brackets. And then because this is an array function, I can't just press enter, I need to do Control Shift and enter. And we see in the transpose sheet, I then have Bob, Sue, Belinda, Mike, John, Sally, and Jane transposed. And they are linked, it is a formula. So if I go back and, for example, Mike changes his name to Michael, then in our transpose list, it then changes. So in each of these cells, you can see in the formula bar that they actually contain exactly the same formula. What you cannot do though is edit that formula and expect the list to change accordingly. So that's now looking at A9, and you can see they're all looking at A9. And if I go back to sales staff and add in an A9, Harry, for example, come back to transposed, Harry does not appear because there isn't a cell for him. He would need to have a cell in here. So if I click in, copy the same formula, and then click into I and paste that formula in, Control Shift Enter, don't forget that, you see it then actually picks up Bob, not Harry. The reason for that is because we've copied and pasted the formula into the next cell, and it effectively starts the list again. If what you want it to do is to extend the list because you've extended the area that they're coming from, then you actually highlight all of the cells, go into the formula bar. Now I don't need to change the formula, it is looking at the right number of cells, but I need to do Control, Shift and Enter again for it effectively to rebuild that formula. And then it picks Harry up, now linked across. So although the transpose function is clever and useful, you just have to be a little bit careful if you're changing the range that you're looking at. Now we can use the transpose function with a named range. What you'll notice is we have one named range in here, which is called market, which refers to the marketing staff. So in our transposed area here, I could put that in here. Let's just check how many there are. 6. So I highlight 6 cells, come into the formula bar, equals transpose, put in the named range, and you see it comes in the list just like it does with a normal formula. And then we can do our Control, Shift and Enter, turn this into an array function, and it pulls in our marketing staff. So I could change Gemma to Jemima, and that will be reflected in our transposed data. If you actually highlight more cells than you have data for, then you will see you get a little error. So if I try to highlight an extra cell and do the same formula, transpose our market people, Control Shift and Enter, then in the extra space I get an NA because it can't make use of it because there's nothing in that slot. Now what I can't do now is try and delete that, because it says this is part of an array, you can't get rid of me. So what I have to do is effectively delete all of the cells within that transposed array and rebuild to the size it should be. And then we get our people. So they are linked through. The transpose will go the other way as well. So if you have a list, for example, our warehouse staff are horizontal, and you want to turn them to vertical, then we can do the same. Let's just check the number again. 5 of those. We need 5 cells here. Equals transpose, open brackets. 5 cells I'm interested in selecting. Control, Shift and Enter to build the array. And that feeds through as well. And just like the other arrays that we've pulled through here, any changes are reflected. So it's a great way of linking cells together that are being changed from a horizontal to a vertical list. And you can see that Guy changes to Gaetano. So that's the transpose function. It's in the list, but it is only an array function. It won't work as a normal function. If you tried to create one with an enter instead of doing Control, Shift and Enter, you would end up with hash value as the result, because it cannot figure out what you're trying to do when it's not being classed as an array.